It has been a while since I've done chapter reviews. Thanks, YouTube. As you guys may remember, or may not, I don't know. YouTube gave me some copyright strikes, so I wasn't able to do any chapter discussions whatsoever. And I just didn't want to, risk the fact that I could get another strike and have my channel go down. So, rather than reviewing every single chapter that has released, I'm just going to review the recent ones that came out, starting with 317. That should make things easier for me. And, I don't really think I should review all of them. I'm just going to give a brief summary of what's happened before and then talk about what's going on now. Because, oh boy, things are getting good. And I mean really good. Alright, so starting from chapter 317, we saw the second gate open and a bunch of devils ended up forming into what looked like a giant worm. And we see this amazing moment between Asta and Yuno, just looking at a distance. I love this. This panel is beautiful. They're just looking at each other and they're cheering each other on. It's like just what I expected. You hear Asta say Yuno, then Yuno say Asta. And, hey look, William. Patri was really concerned about William, and he ended up saving him. And, Longris is pretty relieved. At least I would like to assume he is. And then we see Yami. All the Black Bulls are happy to see him alive, even though he looks like he's about to crack. Kind of like when you nearly shatter a teapot, but it's still holding up somehow. And, we see Noct from a distance, and I just realized we haven't seen him interact with Yami. I hope we get that soon. And the captain seemed relieved, and Charlotte she's so happy that Yami's good. Yami's okay. And then we see this devil show up, and he's like, "What are you people dawdling for?" And then Noct reveals that it's actually a supreme devil from the second gate. And then, boom, Lucifero manifests, and this panel looks really sick. I don't even know how to describe it. It looks almost biblical in a way. It's very dark and eerie, and it's just very horrifying. It's really, really sick. Sabata did an amazing job. It's so simple. In a way, it's just him emerging, but it's very well done. And then he just appears and is like, "All of you, bow your heads," and then everyone just collapses into the floor. And then Lucifero shows up, and he's like, "Oh, you're the fool that kept me from manifesting completely." Just shows up incredibly quickly in front of Asta, and Asta he's actually shocked. He doesn't know how to react. Then in the next chapter, 318, we see that Libe remembers Lucifero from the time he ended up killing his mother, and for that he's just extremely pissed off, and you're like, "You're the one who killed Lucita." And then he's like, "Why would I know you? Scum that doesn't have a single shred of magic." And he just loses control. And at that point, he's like, "I want to take this guy down." And then Asta's like, "Right!" And he brings out Devil Union after having to use it all this time. He starts fighting, and then the devil in the back is surprised to see that Asta is able to keep up with Lucifero, but that's because he has no magic. So then we get this amazing moment where Lucifero just stops Asta's sword completely, and because of that, he manages to make him bleed a little bit, and he's like, "How dare you, garbage!" And then he just punches Asta in the face and yeets him out of the screen. And Asta, he's actually really hurt after that. He's saying that all he did was punch me, but man, his eyes can't even focus, and he can't even get up. And then the chapter ends in the most beautiful way possible. I was super hyped for this on Twitter. I tweeted this out like crazy. Every captain is prepared to fight Lucifero. I guess technically Marileona isn't one. I mean, she was a captain for a bit, but for the sake of just mentioning it, I'm going to call them all captains. And, this moments, I love moments like these in shonens. I don't care what anyone says. I loved it in Naruto when we saw the Kages prepare to fight Madara. I loved it in Bleach when all the captains were getting ready to protect Ichigo from Aizen. And I love it in Black Clover when we're having all the captains protect Asta and trying to fight Lucifero. It is hype. It is hype no matter what anyone says. Then we move on to 319. And here we see all the captains just go out and fight against Lucifero. And all of them are just dropping like flies. Jack moves up ahead along with Merleona. Jack, slam down. Nothing. Merleona, she can't even keep up. Just swung away. Nozel gets a premium look at all 5 of Lucifero's fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then he's just thrown into the air like nothing. Fuegoleon releases Salamander. Releases a massive shot. Does nothing. He's like pointless. Just knocks him away. Then Dorothy prepares to put him into his her glamour world. Nothing. Pointless. Seke is kind of losing his mind. He's like, they're the captains and they can't even touch him. What the heck? What kind of power is that? Even I can tell. This guy, there's no way we can beat him. And Lucifero goes out and says, the mere idea of lonely humans challenging me to battle disgusts me. You should be despairing and prostrating yourselves. Then Merleona comes out, which looked like it was going to be a surprise attack. It did nothing. And it even looked like she may have lost her arm. I know, at the time it came out, I couldn't tell whether she lost her arm or damaged it heavily. But can you imagine, like, both Vermilions, just both of the siblings ended up losing their arms? That's actually wild. Yo, Leopold, watch out! But, yeah. Then the chapter ends with every captain saying, no matter how far beneath you we are, we've been granted the title of strongest, and all of them are still ready to fight. We see Charlotte, Fuegoleon, Jack, Merleona, Dorothy, Nozel, and Rill just going out and getting ready to fight, no matter like what the circumstances are, no matter what the odds are, and I respect that. Like, they know it's a losing battle. They don't care. They're the captains. They have to fight no matter what, because that's their duty. They pride themselves in being the strongest, so they have to fight. And I respect that. And then, boom, Asta shows up right behind Lucifero. Very reminiscent of when he did that to Patri earlier in the series when they were in the cave. And then Asta's like you could ever understand how awesome the Great Magic Knights are. And that's how that chapter ends. Another hype chapter. And then we move on to the most recent chapter, which came out on Sunday. And, oh my god, this chapter is just... I mean, every chapter I've been recapping has been nuts. But here, like, we see Asta, right? He's fighting against Lucifero. And then he manages to land a hit. He took out a little horn, just a little tiny horn. And then Lucifero just loses his mind. He's like, you filthy brats! And then he just starts going crazy. He's just stomps on Asta, slams him into the ground. And then the captains show up to help him. And to no avail. They all just get knocked out. They're all trying to protect him as best as they can, but it's just... It's basically impossible. Like, Jack comes out and he's like, I just can't let a peasant kid show me up like that. Nozel appears and he's like, I, a royal, learned something from that peasant. Anyone can fight those who are far above them. And then, oh my god, freaking Nozel gets just thrown away. Like, oh, that didn't mean anything. He's like, silence. And then we see Fuegoleon and Merleona getting ready to fight together. And they're looking forward to Asta's future as a magic knight, as my prey. And then just, you know, knocked away. Like, nothing. It didn't matter. And then, like, Nozel was already being knocked out. He was, like, in the middle of the air. And then, are you kidding me? Lucifero does the exact same thing to Nozel that he did in the previous chapter. He grabs him by the face, and he just yeets him away. How are you gonna get another look at all 5 of his fingers again, bruh? Nozel, no, you can't. You can't go out like this. You had this happen twice. Not even once, but twice. He just gets thrown away. And then, to make matters even worse, like, I forgot to mention this before, but the only reason that they're able to fight at all is because of Rill's Twilight Valhalla. And then, as they continue to fight, Fuegoleon just gets yeeted into it, and he just destroys the spell. Like, are you kidding me? And granted, I did call this out before. I said when I was in a podcast with Buzzard, Broodmeister, and I believe Nyx. It's been a while since I've done the podcast. Excuse me if I don't remember. But I do remember bringing up that I said that eventually there would come a time where Rill's spell just wouldn't come in handy in a fight. And they were like, I don't see how that could happen. It's just too OP. And this is just how Tabata works, right? He'll introduce something that looks incredibly powerful. But eventually there will come a time where some opponent will be able to find a way around it. And in this case, Lucifero managed to just yeet Fuegoleon into it and he just canceled the spell. And, okay, like, I knew this would happen. I didn't think it happened this soon. But, it caught me off guard. And I was the one that predicted this happening. I just didn't think Lucifero would be the one to do it. But, you know, like I said, Twilight Valhalla is a very powerful spell. Don't get me wrong. I think we all know that. There's no debate here. But I knew eventually there would be something that would be able to stop it. So, you know, Tabata introduced a really OP spell only for it to be destroyed within the matter of like 2 to 3 chapters. So, good on Tabata for that. But, you know, meanwhile, back to Asta, who's currently getting stomped out. Lucifero's losing his mind. He's like, you bastard! You damn brat! Die! And then he's just, man, Asta just looks hella defeated here. Like, he is just knocked out. He's done. He's done. And then, boom, we see Yuno. Yuno finally appears, and he's like, now you're the one who owes me, Asta. And can we talk about this for a second? Can I praise Yuno? He just saw every captain and Asta just get absolutely annihilated by Lucifero. There is nothing they could do to stop him. But Yuno is the one that stands up and he's prepared to fight against them. He's even protecting him. Him and Mimosa. It's just... Oh, well, and Belle. They're all prepared to try to fight against Lucifero. And this is amazing. I love this. And the only thing that would make this even better is if Longris was there. We'd have the 3 members of the Golden Dawn who arrived in Spade protect Asta. And I don't even know what else to say. This is fantastic. It's just really sad to me that there were some people hating on this. They're like, oh, Yuno's gonna be super OP. He'll be the one to do damage to Lucifero, and that's not fair. Bruh, are you serious? Nobody's expecting Yuno to do much against Lucifero. I'm not sure if he even has a plan here. We can see him setting up his star magic, of course. But he's definitely going to try his best to fight against him. I don't think he's going to win. He's definitely going to do something. I don't know what it could be. I'm trying to figure that out. It could be anything, really. But I think the hate Yuno gets is completely undeserved. People keep mentioning about how he's OP, he doesn't show up enough, he's bland and uninteresting, and they don't like him, they find him to be a weak rival. And then, have you realized, since Spade has started, Yuno has gotten a lot of great treatment? We learned that he was a prince. We saw him get really emotional and attached to the Golden Dawn. He tried to fight against Xenon and he lost. And, you know, I've mentioned this before, he has a lot of development. He didn't really feel much for the Golden Dawn. He only joined it to be one step closer to being the Wizard King. And now, you know, we see that he got really attached to the Golden Dawn. It was like his family to him. Now that like half of them are gone, he is extremely motivated to fight Xenon and win. He lost against him the first time. He lost his squad. He trained with Longris and went with him to Spade to get revenge. We saw him finally actually obtained magic. As you know, I don't know if you guys remember or were even reading in the first place. He didn't have magic on his own. He was relying on Lick's son, who's within him. That's, you know, what's been giving him his power all along. What his actual magic is star magic. So we're finally seeing Yuno actually use his own magic. So, and now we're seeing him defend Asta and preparing to fight against Lucifero. That's great character development. Is he gonna win? Probably not. But it's still an amazing moment. This doesn't take away anything. This is a fantastic moment for him. And I hope we continue to see more of that. Like, we get really good moments between Asta and Noelle. Everyone gives him praise, but suddenly Yuno shows up and there's like a bunch of people getting mad at it. I don't get it. It's really dumb to me. But anyways, this has been an amazing last few chapters, and I don't know what Yuno has planned, but I'm really excited to see how he fights Lucifero, what his plan is, and like I said, I hope Languor shows up and fights along Mimosa and Yuno. Mimosa's going to be using that ultimate magic to be healing Yuno, so that's going to be really hyped to see. I know there's some people hoping that Yuno's pendant will be relevant in a way. Maybe Lucifero can recognize the pendant, which to me seems unusual. Like, why would he know the pendant? I guess maybe there could be something Tabata could connect there, but I kind of don't see it. But I don't know. We'll have to find out once we get the next chapter. But yeah, very good overall. Really excited for the next chapter. So yeah, I usually don't say this very often, but I would love to hear what you guys think in the comments or on Twitter. Like, I always reply, or at least try to reply to everyone. These have been some amazing chapters, so I really want to hear what everyone's thoughts are in regards to the captains fighting against Lucifero, Asta, you know, doing his best to fight and still losing, Yuno showing up. Just there's so much to talk about. I'm down to have multiple discussions. But yeah. Aside from that, here's looking forward to the next chapter. Tabata's been in a roll lately. Let's keep this ball rolling, man. Let's go. Alright. Peace out, everyone.